Welcome to the Third Wind channel, where today we're talking about Superstore, a show I just finished and enjoyed. So I wanted to make a character tier list today so I get a chance to talk about all the characters and give my opinions on them. We have 6 tiers: favorite, great, good, okay, meh, and bad. And obviously all the tiers I'll give the characters are my own opinion and how I feel about the characters. But without further ado, let's get straight into the video. And first up, we got Amy, who I'm going to place in good. So Amy is kind of like the princess of the show. We see her grow throughout the show, but we see her grow in kind of social standing, but I don't think we really see her change as a character very much. I think she's actually quite static. I never really saw what Jonah saw in Amy as well. I've never found her to be super likable, but obviously I admire her hard work and her being a single mother and going through lots of tumultuous things, but I'm just not a huge fan of Amy. Moving on, we got Bo, who from the get-go I thought was a bit of a weird character. I thought, is he really going to be like this the whole time? And he was. And I came to accept it, but I'm just going to drop him in like meh. Like, he was funny, but he was a little bit over the top. I don't know. I did enjoy, when you kind of understand the character, I started to enjoy his kind of jokes more and more as the show went on, but he was just never really one of my favorites, and he always came off as more annoying than likable to me. Moving on, we got Brett, who, like, he has barely any dialogue. I mean, I don't even remember him saying anything, but can I put him in great? I'm gonna put him in good. He's very funny. Just the scenes of him just taking whatever they give him is great, and people always commenting about how he's so tough or so friendly, like things that they've heard about him or whatever. But they actually really ever talked to him? I don't know. I'm trying to think now. Has he ever talked? Did he have any dialogue? Either way, I like Brett a lot. I think he was really funny. I would put him up here, but that seems a little bit like overdoing it. Well, no, we might shuffle things around at the end, but for now, I'm dropping him in good. Next, we got Carol, who, as a character, like as a person, like come on, she is bad, 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 bad. But as a character, I think Carol is. I can drop her in okay. Obviously, watching her, you despise her and whatnot, and I just there are lots of bad feelings about her, but she is a pretty good character. The whole arc with Jerry and Sandra was pretty funny, and at the end, even her getting like a win at the end of the series with winning the lawsuit was fitting for the character. And in the end, it's not like she killed anyone, right? So, she was an okay character, very unlikable, but that's what makes her an okay character. Next up, we got Cheyenne, who I've always liked about as much as I like Amy, I think. I think they're both similar in many ways, which is highlighted in the show. It's like a mother-daughter relationship. Although her kind of super social media kind of woke culture isn't my style. I preferred Mateo's take on it, and Cheyenne is great. And we do see a lot of character growth for her. She does get smarter. I do appreciate that. In that sense, I do kind of like her more than Amy, that we see some character growth, and that's fun. But for me, yeah, she's a good character. Is she great? Almost there. Not quite. Moving on, we got Dina, who's my first favorites character. My first favorite. She reminds me a lot of. I think this show took a lot of inspiration from The Office, and she reminds me a lot of a character on The Office who also has his name starting with the letter D, Dwight. So yeah, Dina is like this show's Dwight, and I think she does a great job. She's super entertaining. This show without Dina would be just, I can't even imagine it. Kind of seeing her grow as a character as well, learning about her emotions, and all that, and then what happened to her birds, and then the different relationships she had, and her relationship with all the coworkers, and the ending is super fitting and everything. Just seeing how Dina is and that complicated character, how she works, was really fun, and she's definitely one of my favorites. The story without her would be screwed, by the way, as well. Moving on, we got Elias, who, really, like, if you haven't watched this show all the way through, click off now. But he was the foot guy. He was the guy who piled up all the feet in the bag, and he was he's probably a serial killer. So there's that. I always thought he was really great in the show, and he was really fun as a character as well. You don't get so much dialogue from him, but he's fun. I'd put him. I almost want to put him in good. I think the foot thing actually adds to his character. You kind of you have to think about what you saw in the 6 seasons, but I want to put Elias in good. I might switch him down a little later, but next up, we're getting to another one of my favorites, Garrett. Garrett is, I don't know, I just love his, towards the end of the show, we get more of his soft side, whatever, but this kind of unpenetrable character, which you understand more and more, and he's a very relatable character. He's like a bro type, and he won't give way easily. He's selfish, but at the same time, he cares. And there's just, in the same way as Dina, there's a lot of like kind of mystery to his character that doesn't really get resolved till the very end. And I really like that. I really like that character growth. I really liked his talking in the mic. I liked that he was kind of the voice of the show in a way, and just Jonah always trying to get his approval of being his friend, and him kind of playing along with it and pranking the employees and whatever. I almost feel that Garrett was more of a Jim in this show, The Office, than Jonah was. So yeah, I think that Garrett was good. Next up, we got Glenn, who, I'm a little bit mixed about Glenn, because Glenn definitely at the beginning of the show, again, same thing as Bo, kind of comes off as a little bit annoying. I'm like, is he really going to be like that? But as the show goes on, you learn more and more about Glenn. You learn to love Glenn. You learn to love his love. And especially towards like the end, we get to see. I love the episode where Jonah accidentally says that Glenn is incompetent, and then he proves time and time again that he's a hard worker and he cares about his employees, and he does get things done even though he's not the smartest person. I think Glenn is a great character, just super heartwarming, and he adds that heart to the show that it needs. Moving on, we got Jeff, who, I might slide some of these characters up, something like that, and Jeff can go somewhere in good as well. I almost want to put him in great. Can I do it? Can I do it? Nah, okay, we're gonna put him in good. So actually really like Jeff. Whenever we get a character with an episode with Jeff, I think it's always really amusing. I love his relationship with Mateo and with the rest of the workers, and how he's kind of like the male version of Justine. He's always kind of bragging, but people, people know that's not the case, and kind of this like perfect disaster of, yes, he is a higher position, but his life is much more miserable. Kind of deal is fun, and I love the jokes around Jeff. Really great, good character. Kind of like a Toby, I guess, in a way, but very different. Moving on, we got Jerry, who I got nothing bad to say about Jerry. But as a character, he's okay. The whole coma thing was weird, I thought, and his kind of givingness to Carol was a little weird. But he's an okay character, but he's fun. Yeah, nothing bad to say. Next up, we got Jerusha, who, not gonna lie, I didn't really love Jerusha for whatever reason. I thought that she was, for Glenn's wife, yes, it makes sense, but at the same time, it's just such a boring character. I just don't have anything to say. Is that wrong? I don't know. I just found her pretty boring. I almost want to put her in bad. Yeah, I'm gonna put her in bad. I never really liked to see the scenes with her. They were just kind of offbeat and unentertaining for me. Moving on, we got Jonah, who honestly, I don't know what the community says about Jonah and the cast of Superstore, but I think that Jonah has to go down as my favorite character in the show. We could say that he's like the main character of the show as well, and we definitely see growth with him. But he's also something in the show that remains stable, and his viewpoints don't, they change, but his kind of ethics and morals and all that is something that keeps you as a viewer grounded. Like all these crazy characters in the show, and Jonah kind of sets them straight or says, hey, that's not right. And I actually like that kind of character. Maybe I kind of relate to him a little bit in some ways, but Jonah is definitely my favorite character, and I definitely see what, for example, Amy sees in Jonah. He definitely deserves that title of being like the kind of the prince in the show, and yeah, he's my favorite. Next up, we got Justine, who I'm gonna drop like next to Carol. I think she gives, in terms of like character quality, yeah, she's about a Justine. I think every workplace has a Justine, and you got to represent every side of the workplace. But yeah, the same thing with Jeff. But I mean, I love how everyone in the workplace just doesn't like Justine as well. She doesn't get invited to parties and whatnot. It's kind of sad, but yeah, Justine is Justine. Moving on, we got Kelly, who I thought was I liked how people poked fun at, oh, it's just like the little pretty girl Kelly, whatever, and then the relationship with Jonah, and she never really fit in, and we slowly got to see her unravel and just not give a shit and tell people what she means, and the workplace really changed Kelly, and I thought that was good. I thought it was good character writing. I liked Kelly a lot. It's actually kind of sad that we didn't get to see more development with Kelly and Jonah in the last season. That would have been interesting. But yeah. Next up, I don't know if it's allowed, but I know that Marcus has some fairly like non-PC views, but I thought Marcus was like, the reason I like Marcus is I thought he was the funniest character in the show. Just the random stuff he does. Like if you watch back the series, like every time something really bad happens to the store, it's usually Marcus. The flooding with the salami, and that's just one example, but Marcus was just so funny, and like him cutting off his finger in the one of the first episodes, and then it ends up in the salsa. That was really funny, and obviously he gets a good ending as well. And his like Jonah always looked up to Garrett and tried to get his approval, while Marcus always tried to get Jonah's approval, and he was really open with saying like what the hierarchy in the store was and who's the coolest. And I just loved his honesty and everything. Just Marcus, really fun character to be honest. I really liked him. Maybe that's a really hot take. Maybe I'm not allowed to like him because he is a bit of edgy character. But yeah, Marcus is great. Moving on, we got Mateo, who I'd say like I loved Mateo's friendship with Cheyenne. At times it got a little bit annoying, but despite everything, I think Mateo was a really unique character. And I at first I didn't really like him, but I really grew to love him with time and kind of seeing him open up. Although obviously it was a little annoying seeing him be so selfish and kind of rude to people. But with time he opened up and he was still selfish and he was still him, but I guess you kind of learned to understand him more. So yeah, he's a great character. Moving on, we got Myrtle, who I think I put together with Brett and Elias. Um, yeah, solid, really kind of sweet old lady, but slightly also racist. But very funny at times, and heartwarming, I guess, for the show. Not much to say, but she was good. Maybe I should have put her in okay. Next up, we got Sandra, who I think she's a fan favorite for a lot of people, but for me, Sandra, up until like the very end, I always just found her a little bit boring. The whole kind of she played that kind of dumb trope, and I don't know. I just didn't really like it so much. I think we have a lot of that already filled up, and Sandra didn't really add much for me. Obviously, she got a bigger role towards the end, and that's great. But I kind of see her like in the same boat as Amy. I just never really understood what's so likable about Sandra. Although I do one thing she will definitely get is I love her adoption of the son of Tony at the end. That actually bumps her up quite a bit. And yeah, Sandra's a good character. Next we got Saeed, who I'm just gonna pop straight in bad because like he showed up out of nowhere at some point. I don't even think we got like a maybe we did get like a he's hired moment, but all of a sudden he just was accepted into like the main cast, and it felt so offbeat, and he wasn't very likable to me. And I mean I totally understand like why he was in the group he was, but I just didn't really like him so much. I don't know. He's a very weird character. Maybe I just never grew to like him, or maybe he just came on too fast and I never really accepted him in the group. And then lastly we have Tony, who is we got very little time with Tony, but Tony is definitely I compared him to Jerry with Sandra. Great relationship. He as a character he didn't do much, but he did a lot to Sandra's character. He did a lot to Jonah's character. So and he did a lot to Glenn's character. He made an impact, but him as a character he was just kind of there, right? So that is my list. Would I change anything now? We are a little bit inflated towards up here. I guess we can definitely drop Jerry down, or we could drop Justine down to a meh. And we could probably drop Tony down to a meh. And to the okays, I think we could drop Myrtle down to okay. We can definitely drop. Yeah, I think I'm happy with this actually. This is about how I'd rate the Superstore characters, but one thing that's for sure, or these are definitely my favorite characters. These ones are either the ones that made me laugh, or made me take the show more seriously, or made me respect the relationships of the characters more. And Jonah, absolutely the most important character for the show for me. But that's my list. Let me know if you have seen Superstore, and let me know what your favorite characters are. Let me know what your least favorite characters are. And let me know if you want to see more Superstore content. But for now, that has been the Third Wind channel, and thank you for watching the video, and I'll see you guys soon with another video tomorrow.